Hello, just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. It's time for new makeup releases, which seems like it's been a very short time since the last one, but that's because I had difficulties with the last one and getting it uploaded. So yeah, and then I did consider not doing it now and then waiting for the next round, but then that would make the next round really big. So yeah, here we are, new makeup releases already. I'm using a lapel mic today just to see what it's like. I've tested it, not 100% sure on how it sounds, but I'm going to try it for an entire video and see. But I think I do want to get a proper microphone at some point, but hopefully this will tide me over until I do. I don't mind my setup without a mic, but I think this might just make it sharper. I don't know, we'll see. I don't think there's but then I always say that and then it still ends up being a really long roundup. So let's see how we go. I shall make a start and let me shunt over to the side a little bit so that I can put everything over here. Let's start with Beauty Creations because that's the oldest one, which I think either I missed when I did the last one or it came out just after, one or the other, but that's what I'll talk about first. Beauty Creations have done a collab with the Powerpuff Girls, and it's quite, well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a chunky collab. There's quite a few bits to it. This bit, apologies if this is boring, but I think it's just easy if I read this out. The Powerpuff Girls Gone Western includes Cowgirl Cutie Shadow Palette, $14, 12 shades from Sunset Soft Mattes to Glimmering Saloon Shimmers, Pretty Desperados Blush Stick Duos, those are $14, Cowgirl Cuties Lip Oils, $8 each, Western Makeup Hydrogel Under Eye and Lip Patches, $12 each, Tinted Lip Balm, $8 each, Eldorado Hair and Beauty Glitter, $13, or you can get the whole thing for $82. If you know anything about me by now, you'll know that the first thing that I'm going to go to, of course, is the eyeshadow palette. I don't like it. I don't like the disorder. I don't like the layout. Why are they wavy? Why are they not just in lines? Why are they in that format? I don't like it. And I just don't feel the shadows have a lot of depth. Like even just looking at the swatches on the lightest arm, it doesn't look like there's 12 shades on there. It looks like there's 10 or even 9 because the others are just so light that they just blend in. And if they're that light on that arm, how would they look on a deeper skin tone? I'm just not sold. I don't like it. That green looks like it could be really pretty, but the only shades that really sort of jump out at me from there are that green, that brown, and that red. I can't imagine that for $14 that yellow is going to be any good. I could be wrong about that. I could be, but I'm not convinced. And then as for the rest of the collection, I don't even know that lovers of the Powerpuff Girls would be into something like this because it's very niche. It's not just Powerpuff Girls, it's Cowgirl Powerpuff Girls, which I think is very exact. It's very precise. It's very odd. It's an odd combination. I don't know where this has come from, unless there's been a recent episode. I mean, I haven't watched the Powerpuff Girls in literally years at this point, so maybe there was a special Cowgirl episode, which is where this has stemmed from. I don't know. It just seems very random to me, and nothing from the collection jumps out at me. Price point wise, it is cheap, but it also looks it. That would be a no from me. No. Mika Beauty X Pixie Glow. This one, So this one kind of snuck in. I think it was almost in the last one, but I might have cut it out actually for time. I can look at this and I can look at the swatches and I can appreciate it, but it's not something I would go for. Like I've seen the swatches, I've looked at the swatches, and I've even thought to myself, those swatches are really, really pretty, really, really pretty swatches. But something would hold me back from buying this. Like even individual shades and like a few of them together, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. But I don't know, as a whole, there's something that's not making me sort of add to basket and check out. And I couldn't tell you what it is. I couldn't put my finger on it. So this is also part of a collection. So the palette itself is €65. And I want to say that Mika Beauty is a French brand. Then you've got single shimmer shadows, and those are €15. Sorry, €15 we've just established. They're a European brand. Then you can get the shimmer bundle for €43. And then the whole collection is €105. I think there were a couple, the shimmers looked good. I think, funnily enough, if I was to get anything from this particular collection, I think it might be the shimmers, especially that bluey one called Celestial. That one looks interesting. I'm just looking at those swatches again, and they do look good. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe if the price point was lower, it could be something I'd be tempted by, but I don't think this is something I like enough to pay €65 for. But I have to say, like, when anyone does a collab, I'm going to talk about another collab, I have to say, like, congratulations, definitely. I can see the beauty in it, I can. It's not something that I would get. And this is as a blue and green lover, it's got some really nice blue and green shades in there, but I don't know, I'm not quite there. And then speaking of influencer collabs, Diveroon Cosmetics and Andromedae. I don't know if it's Andromedae or Andromedae. I'm going to go with Andromedae. And this is another collab that's a collection. So the whole collection is $120. You can get just the palette for $66. There's an opal highlighter, which is $24. That's non-magnetic. Then there's the Somber Souls Quad, that's $20. The Meteor Quad Wet Liner, that's $9. And the Garnet Magnetic Shadow, and that's $14. Funnily enough, the item that stands out the most to me, and I think I'd be most inclined to get, would be that Meteor Quad Wet Liner. I'm into wet liners at the moment. Well, I say that I've used them maybe twice now. I should really use the ones I've got before I buy another one. But I really like the tones in this. I really like the colours in this particular quad wet liner. That would be the main draw for me. I'm not sold on the shades in the quad. So just from following S Andromedae, I get like a bit of a gothic kind of grungy vibe, and I get that very much from this palette as well. So even though I can look at it, and again, a bit like the Pixie Glow collab, I can see it's pretty, but it's not for me. Like, that colour story is not for me. I don't know what I would do with a palette with that colour story. I can look at individual shades, like maybe I'll kind of draw out the kind of section in here that calls out to me. Like if it was a 6-pan palette, there's a section in here that I think I'd be like, yeah, that I would buy. But it's not quite up my street. Even, yeah, like looking at the swatches, those are really pretty swatches, and some of those shimmers. I think, do I like all of the shimmers? I don't know, it's not quite for me. The colour story something's throwing me off about it. But I do really like those purples and probably all the shimmers. Maybe it's the rest of it. And the black is a black is a black, isn't it? Maybe it's the yellows that's throwing me off. I don't know what it is, but this would be a pass for me. Simply Posh have got a new palette out, and it's called Down to Earth. And it reminds me very much of, well, all of their palettes, to be honest. They're all quite similar. And they put it next to Coastal, which was one I was looking at. And it's one of those, if you missed out on Coastal, this could be a good substitute, but I think I still would just about prefer Coastal. But it's I don't know, Simply Posh Cosmetics, it feels very same but different, or not very different at all, to be honest. And also, if you're releasing a product and it's going to be a pre-order and you're posting it on Instagram, please put the price. I don't want to have to become Sherlock Holmes to find out what the price of your new release is going to be. Just a line. You know, if you're putting the time and you're putting the date and you're saying it's a pre-order, just throw in the price as well. That'd be quite useful. And the price is in fact $55 or £40.91. Now, Simply Posh, I think, is a brand that was saying that they were going to put prices up, and I think it went up by $10. So, but I don't know if it's gone up already. So were they 45 or are they going to be 65? I can't recall now how much they used to be. So if anyone can remember, do shed some light. I don't think I would get this one. I'm still curious about Simply Posh Cosmetics. I think I'd probably try them eventually, but I've preferred like Cozy Cabin and Coastal over Down to Earth. And where have the embossings gone? I quite like the whole embossings thing that Simply Posh does, but they've gone from these. I imagine it's a cost-saving thing. But if you've just bumped up the price by $10 for each palette, why have you then removed the embossing? But it would be a no from me. But I'll keep watching. Let's see if they bring out something else that could tempt me. And I guess I could probably still get Cozy Cabin or possibly Coastal from Monolith. But I think I want to see what they do next instead. Alter Ego have come out with a new palette, and it's going to be, or it is, I don't know if it's out already, £17 or $22. And I want to say it's a dupe for Natasha Denona's I Need a Warm. While I'm on my neutral thing, I think I've got plenty now. I don't need another neutral eyeshadow palette, but I thought it was worth a mention if you're someone who quite likes Natasha Denona colour stories, but don't want to pay Natasha Denona prices. It's always worth keeping an eye on Alter Ego, because sooner or later they will come out with a dupe for Natasha, and this is it. And I mean, $22. I'm trying to think how much Natasha Denona's midi pan palettes are. I think maybe they're 65 quid. And from what I understand, Alter Ego's quality is pretty decent. For £17 for a dupe of a palette that's in excess of 60, it's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all, especially if they do perform as well as I've heard people say. So we've got some fragrances now. These are always quite difficult to discuss. I suck at low notes, dry downs, top notes. To me, it's, oh, that smells nice. I can just about say it smells fruity, or it smells floral, or it's got a bit of a woody scent, but I don't think I could necessarily pick out particular fruits or particular, I'm not, if it smells good, I'll buy it type thing. And what I don't blind buy fragrances. I can't bring myself to do it, especially when we're in the UK, and if you decide you don't like it, you can't just take it back like you can in the US. I tend to, if I know I'm interested in a fragrance, like I've heard people talk about it, I'll go to Boots, I'll make a beeline for it, I'll spray it on, I will go about my business, I'll do what I need to do, I'll do my shopping, I'll go home, I'll see how long it lasts, I'll see what it smells like initially, how it smells after a while, how it smells after like a good few hours, because it it does sometimes change throughout the day, and then I will decide if it's something that I want to buy. I've learnt the hard way that you don't just spray it and be like, oh yeah, that's nice, because sometimes when it dries down, those undertones come out, and maybe I don't like those undertones. There's a sort of phrase for what those scents are. It's the top notes, bottom notes. Maybe it's the bottom notes. It might make sense. But that's how I buy fragrances. So the Rare Beauty one, if you are someone that likes scents, that's £71. Rare Eau de Parfum, vanilla and caramel with sandalwood and a hint of spicy ginger. See, that does sound like it would smell good. And someone asked, what does it smell like? And the Rare Beauty customer service team or social media team replied, the scent is warm, decadent, and a little spicy with notes of caramel, pistachio, vanilla, and ginger, then dries down to an earthy sandalwood. I don't know if I like earthy sandalwood. If I can get to a Sephora and I can give it a sniff, not that I need any more perfume. In fact, I'm going to have to bin one of my perfumes because I've had it for so long and I haven't stored it correctly, so it's basically gone off. It doesn't smell anything like it used to, so I think I'm going to have to get rid of that. So another thing, if you're not using your fragrances, store them in like a cupboard out of direct sunlight and covered if you can, just so that it retains the fragrance. And then Forever Mood has released a new fragrance, and that's going to be $79, and it's called She Was Here. I know that I like I Am Her and NDA. The other two I didn't like at all. So it'd be interesting to see if this one is more like I Am Her and NDA, or the other two whose names I can't remember. But this is apparently Turkish Rose, Amber, Pistachio, Vanilla, Milk. A perfume that smells milky. I don't know about that. Creamy, woody, floral, nutty, milky, woody. So I think creamy, woody, floral are the top notes, and then the bottom notes are nutty, milky, woody. Is milky meant to be like a different way of saying creamy? Because I don't know, like milky is a fragrance. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'd want to smell it though, because as I say, I Am Her, NDA, beautiful. The other two in that set, no. Pastel Roses have got these limited edition quads, Tropical Paradise, Summer Breeze, and Summer Mixtape. They are $13.99. Is it Tropical Paradise? There's one of them that's very monochromatic. It's very blue. But as a blue lover, I'm not sold on it. I think it's a bit too blue, especially with a quad. I think you're very limited when that's all you've got. Then there's the green one that's got that pop of pink. That one's not too bad. It's almost got the same issue, but I feel like there's a bit more variety even in the greens that are in there. I think my favourite one, because of the versatility, is probably Summer Mixtape. I don't normally go for quads, but if I were to go for a quad, that Summer Mixtape one looks interesting, because you could do a neutral look, which is just rewind blown out with glow on the lid, and then you could do something colourful with play and retro. Like you could get a few good looks out of that, whereas I don't know how many distinct looks, for example, you would get with Summer Breeze. I think you'd be quite limited. And that's the thing for me with a quad. I don't mind them as long as you can get more than one or two looks out of them. And I suppose technically you could just put play all over your lid, or you can do a one and done with each, and that's 4 looks already. You could do something like that. Yeah, I'm tempted, I haven't got anything from the Pastel Roses since I got Pumpkin Spice. Was it Pumpkin Spice? And I've been eyeing it. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that I'd pick up a quad, but I'm kind of curious. I mean, I could just duplicate that. Maybe I can find a palette or two and just replicate that, because I'm curious now to see what combinations I could get. But those are quite nice, and they've also got these loose pigments, and those are $3.99 each. Palm Leaf, Lemon Zest, Purple Mirage, Soft Peach, Forest Mist and Midnight Navy. I do like the look of Purple Mirage and Soft Peach. Excuse my butchering this, because I'm very sure I'm going to butcher this, but Itsai Wenmo have got these palettes out. So there's the Peach Blossom one, which is £30, Mountains and Seas, which is £27, and Phantom Lotus, which is also £27. With this one, it was the packaging really that got me. The packaging, especially of Mountain and Seas and Phantom Lotus, is stunning. Really, really pretty. But then as a blue, purple, green lover, I'm not sold on the bluey one, which is Phantom Lotus. But Mountains and Seas, that's summery, it's vibrant, it does have the purples in there. It reminds me a little bit of the summer releases from Gloss Gods Cosmetics, actually. That could be tempting. For £27, that's not bad. That's 12 shades. But that packaging is stunning. But I'm not sure about Peach Blossom and Phantom Lotus. Mountain and Seas, though. Might have to look around and see if I can find swatches of those. Mind you, I think I only see 2 shimmers in that. I'm going to have to find some swatches because I haven't seen any yet. And I think that would be the deciding factor for me. I think so. Peach Blossom, that's only got 1 shimmer. That would put me off, the lack of shimmers. Good price point though, if they perform. Beauty Moon Cosmetics are doing a revamp of their Divergence palette. And I'm still yet to try a full-size palette from Beauty Moon. I've got 3 of them because I bought them all in one go, Mantra 1 and 2 and the reformulated Cosmology palette. But I'm not going to buy any more until I've tried the 3 I've got. And it's in my pile. I'm getting to it. I'm trying not to sort of jump around, and I'm trying to go through in order that I've purchased things. But I want to do it sooner rather than later because I've been eyeing Medusa. I love the look of that palette. That's right up my street. It's kind of one of those, I think I've said there's a few colour stories that are a bit gothy or grungy, and they're not necessarily my vibe. Medusa's probably about as grungy as I would get, and I don't even know if you would describe that colour story as being grungy, to be perfectly honest. This looks quite good. So this is quite a colourful palette. I haven't actually seen, or rather I don't recall what the old Divergence palette looks like. So I'm going to dig out that image and I'm going to put it side by side with this new one. I want to say 15 shades. Yeah, 15 shades. 10 mattes, 3 multis and 2 duos. This is coming out on the 15th of August and it's going to be £36.50. And there'll be codes. There'll be codes. I'm trying to think of a code off. Erica 15, I think, is a code. I want to say Cole has a code with them now as well. Would I call it rainbow? Rainbow-esque. This could be cool. I'd be curious to see swatches of that. So this could be a maybe. I want to see swatches and I want to see those shimmers in action. I've got a picture here with some swatches, but I want to see, and they do look good, to be fair. Like, those shimmers look pretty stunning. But I want to see the palette in action. I want to see some looks. I want to see swatches on a deeper skin tone as well. And then I'll have a think about that. But obviously, got to try what I've got. And then if I do like it, I can pick up Medusa and Divergence at the same time. And for anyone who's tried Beauty Moon for a long time, let me know what you think of their older formula in comparison to the new formula that they have now. The palettes that I do own are all the newer formula, so I'd be curious to know what improvements have been made and how that translates when it comes to the performance of the shadows. The last thing I want to talk about is Urban Decay, and they are reformulating their setting sprays. And I think it mostly is about, I don't know if the collab with Skindinavia applied to all of their setting sprays or if it was mainly the all-nighter. Urban Decay have had this long-running partnership with Skindinavia where they've effectively used Skindinavia's formula in their own setting spray. That partnership has come to an end, and it's the way Urban Decay have done it, though. I think it's them that's cut the ties, but they're now marketing it in such a way as to say, Skindinavia was shit anyway, come and buy our new, all-improved, all-nighter setting spray, which I think is a move that lacks all class. There's a way to do it without shoving your collaborator for however many years it's been under the bus. Like, you can't just say, okay, yeah, we've had this partnership, we've cut ties, and now we've created this setting spray that pisses all over the first one. Even if it's true, I just think it's really nasty. I don't know, I just feel like there's better ways. You could just say, you know, there's a way of saying, look, we've made some changes. Try our new setting spray. Don't necessarily imply, and I mean, you could argue that, you know, that's marketing, that's selling, that's what you do. You deliberately go after a brand and say how much better yours is. But I just think it's really distasteful to do it with a brand that you've collabed with for so long. I think there's a better way to do it. I just don't like that sentiment of, oh, look at us, we've cut ties with them, and now we're even better than they are. Their formula has helped you sell as many Urban Decay all-nighter setting sprays as you have. For a lot of people, Urban Decay all-nighter was a staple for me at one point. I have been banging on about how I'm trying to find a new setting spray because I tried the Charlotte Tilbury one and I do really like it, but I don't want to buy Charlotte Tilbury stuff anymore, so I'm looking for a new setting spray. And I even said, sod it, I'm just going to go back to Urban Decay all-nighter. And I don't think I'm even going to do that now, based on the way Urban Decay have now been promoting their new formula. I might even just go to Skindinavia. I think it's the bridal setting spray that's meant to be the all singing, all dancing, super duper setting spray. So I could try that, but I'm just trying to find a reasonable price point in the UK. Someone's also mentioned there's a Milani one that's a really good dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. That's on my list, and I'm annoyed because that was very recently available for a tenner during £10 Tuesdays, and I remember I added it to my basket, got distracted, by the time I came back, all gone. But that bodes well, because normally they cycle these things, so hopefully eventually it will come back round as another £10 Tuesday item, and it's not like I need it right now. I'm still using my Beauty Moon Cosmetics one, I'm using this Trigwell Cosmetics hollow hold one, and I do still have the rest of my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush, whatever it's called, that I'm finishing off at the moment, but that's very nearly gone, which is why I'm now panicking about my next setting spray. But I've got time, I've got these 3 on the go. Hopefully in that time the Milani one comes back around, and or I find the Skindinavia one available at a price that's not eye-watering. I think I'll leave it there. See, I think that's going to be a short one. I do. Normally I say when I think it's going to be short, I say it's going to be short, and it never is. But I think that might be one of the shortest ones I've ever done. But I didn't want to leave it, as I say, just because I know how much prep and how much editing goes into a new makeup. And I didn't want the one in a couple of weeks to end up being an hour and me having to spend God knows how long editing and all the rest of it. So it's good that I've got like maybe a little, maybe not quite bite-sized, but I've got a smaller one. And then hopefully it'll be more manageable if I keep doing it every fortnight. Let's see. What have I missed? See, this is the thing. Has it just been a slow fortnight, or have I just missed some really glaringly obvious launches in there? I feel like I might have missed something, but I did go back. And like, don't get me wrong, there were things that I saw that I didn't really include. Like, I know Fenty is relaunching, I think it's like a caramel body butter. There were some high-end brands, but I don't really buy high-end. I think YSL launched a blush. I think Dior did some lippies and some quads. But I think that's it. I think so. If I have missed something, let me know. especially something really glaringly obvious. So I've got the running joke about Made by Mitchell having launched something. He probably has. I'm sure he has. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope to see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye. From following Andromedae, what did I just say?